Hello everyone! Round 5, and it's the tail end of the first half of the season as we get ready for our spring qualifying session in Igora Drive, right next to St. Petersburg in Russia. We're gonna follow Enigma in the VEO at the moment. Makes a bit of an error into that turn 2. It's a bit of a very interesting flowy sector 1 and 2. We've got a few tight corners to really navigate here. It's a bit tougher in the wet, having to really judge the right time to to get your foot down on the throttle to really make these corners stick, and that's going to be the real difference maker on the times here as Kraft goes P1 in the Heritage Performance. 28:13 is a solid time in the wet, and he's going to be met with Gwetsley on the front row in the Riker Auto. Then we got Kato and Kato following on the second row, Kamikaze and Enigma following in 5 and 6. Then we've got Jeff, Urist, Pumpkin and Goose in the top 10. Big gap between 9th and 10th there. It's going to get a little bit bigger as we follow. The VPTs in 11th and 12th, Alexi ahead of Kasir. Then Suicide in 13th, Krunk in 14th, Galomi, Priya, Jeremiah and Arya Carmona will be rounding out the grid. The last 4 or so cars not getting the greatest of laps in. That's okay, you've got a full race to make the difference as we get underway with our sprint right about now. And I'm joined by Kubo as well. How do you think about that qualifying?
That's an interesting qualifying. Gwetsley has been absent for 2 races at this point, I believe, so and Kraft as well for 1 or 2, so they've both come back in quite a way. Here we go.
Yeah, we're going right into it. We've got names off, gotta fix that. Got Kami still in battle here. Kata getting shoved off. We've got a big sort of trouble here. Jeff getting offside. We've got Alexi finding a lot of trouble there, and I think it's Urist who actually benefited the most from that. He's up into 3rd, right ahead of Gwetsley now. It's Kraft and Kato leading us away. Urist in 3rd, Gwetsley followed by Kamikaze, and a heap of cars following Kami in P6. Kato makes a dive! Bunch of cars go down into turn 1. It's getting a little rough here. Goose finding a lot of trouble there. So many cars going wide into that long left-hander at the end of the first sector. There is a lot of trouble for the back markers, but at the moment it's smooth sailing for Kraft as he leads Kato by over a second. Urist trying to hold on to this P3 as Gwetsley is challenging him, and Kato's made a bit of a mistake too, so it might be a 3-way fight for P2 as Urist goes on the outside into turn 3. He tries to make the move, but finds the grass and he's going to lose out. Kato following in P5, then Jeff, Kami and Jeff fighting for P6, then Enigma holding on to P8 at the moment. Has got Pumpkin getting a penalty there for forcing Suicide offline. And yeah, it's a little bit more settled after a bit of a dramatic first 2 laps there.
Yeah, I think we saw Gwetsley force Urus off on the final turn into the grass as they were trying to fight each other, but also keep the slip to Kato.
Big shove there between the back markers, and it's Kasir now at the very tail end of the field. A few drivers really fighting struggles. We've got Carmona and Krunk fighting their way into a bit of a lag rocket as Kraft makes a personal best lap time as we enter lap 5. Got Kato and Gwetsley alongside. But it looks like Kato's holding him off for the time being. Maybe finding a little bit of a gap now as the tyres are starting to really find their wear. We've got Urist and Kato fighting into that second sector. Kato's got to make the outside become the inside, but they're both side by side as we enter the hairpin. And it's Urist with the inside. It's going to be Urist who takes the position for the time being, but Kato finds a switchback, and he's still alongside as we enter to lap 6. And it looks like Urist has finally gotten past him for the time being. Oh, it's quite tight.
Enigma with the fastest lap.
Oh, Enigma now with the fastest lap, helped by a little bit of slipstream from Kami, but he's also been battling Jeff at the same time. Jeff finds a little bit of a... He's finding it hard to get past Kami. He's ran to the back of him a bit. Jeff maybe a little aggressive into Kamikaze that time. Oh, no, Enigma being the real victim of that battle, and he's lost a bunch of time. Now Pumpkin is on his slipstream now in P9, so he might be able to swipe that single pointer off of him if he can tail him just a bit better. Alexi and Suicide fighting for 10th here. Goose, Priya, Jeremiah, Cassia, Carmona, Crunk, and Gorlomi at the tail end, but it's Kraft ending lap 8 with even faster personal best and just 100th off of the fastest lap of the race. He's got a almost 3 second gap to Kato at the moment in P2, who has also gapped Gwetzley, who's, Kato's last lap was 4 tenths faster, but it looks like Kato's also made quite a bit of an error heading into that middle sector, and so is Urist, who has lost the position for the time being. Kato's got to get the inside into the hairpin, and he makes the move go into P3, and Urist is not out of trouble yet. He does find a slipstream though, tries to go on the inside into turn 1, but that becomes the outside of turn 2, and Kato holds the position now, and Jeff is just going to be following along, trying to make any extra move really pay. Now, any bad move here pay dearly for both Urist and Kato. Urist finds himself offline for a moment. He goes side by side with Jeff now, and it's a 3-way fight for P4 at the moment. It looks like Urist has lost 2 positions in a single corner, and Jeff is trying to make a charge into P4 now. He gets on the... makes the move.
Catching as well.
Oh, wow. Komi is also in that position, so Urist could fall to 7th now. And you think he has now. If Kamikaze gets past, Urist trying to make... something happened here to try and come back.
Ooh.
And I think he has, yeah. Nice little aggressive move there to get the position back from Urist, but it is Kato and Jeff
caught back up to Kato
in P4, and Gwetzley. I'm not sure what happened to Kato there because he's had a 3/10 slower lap than Gwetzley has that last lap, and Kato's made another error, and Gwetzley is right on his tail. He could have had the chance to get past him too, but he was just a bit too far, and he gets squeezed into the inside on that little left-hand kick. So it's Kato still in the lead. Gwetzley just trying to tail him. He's slightly out of his slipstream at the moment. But with these mistakes, Kato might find he could be under some pressure once again. But it is Kraft now with a 5-second lead. He is lapping a few of the back markers as well. Looks like Jeff is pulled away from Kato as well, so that's could be P4 sewed up as we are very much into the final lap of the race now.
Raf, yep. Here he
Pumpkin
goes.
Ahead of Enigma in P8. We'll have to see how that battle goes for the final points paying position. And it's Kraft entering the second sector again. He is pulled away. Oh no, we've got a bit of a lag storm. No, it looks like it's cleared up right for Kraft to finish right here. He is
Wetzley's on the back of Kato.
Oh dear, we'll have to go back to that. Kato and Wetzley, they're neck and neck here. They're going to go side by side, but it's going to be Kato holding on to P2, Jeff in P4, Kato P5. Urist gets a penalty, I'm not sure why, but that's going to get Komi finishes 6th, Urist 7th. Enigma pulls off the win against Pumpkin to finish P8. Oh dear. Few neck and neck fights right into the line. But yeah. Still a couple of drivers still yet to finish here. Jeremiah fighting Golobi to the very end as well. And it's Komodo rounding us all up.
Some questionable moves here, like Gwetzley forcing Urist off, really made him fall back into the clutches of Kader, and he's fallen all the way to 7th through the race because of that move. And then, of course, Kato squeezing Gwetzley wide cost him some time and catching him again, and couldn't quite make the move at the end. But it's Kraft who wins.
Kraft who
with
wins.
A dominant performance.
Comfortably, very comfortable, even in the wet. And that's interesting. All the while, double points for Heritage, double points for VEO, and yeah, interesting results from that. Further along, the drivers at the back who weren't able to make too much of an impact, especially early on. I think the best driver for that pack was actually Enigma, who ended up getting P8. after not having the greatest qualifying session. So hopefully some fortunes can change for the feature. In that regard,
35 laps.
Yeah, there's a lot of time to make up the difference. Alrighty. And into the feature qualifying we go now. Going to be following Urist, who's making a tidy lap as we speak. Feel like we're going to really see the times drop down in the dry conditions. We've got a few drivers who I think can really make a splash come the UL race in a couple of hours' time too. So, ooh, that's a big start from Kraft. A 26.95 is going to be a really tough time to beat for some of these drivers. Got a lot of drivers still in the 28s and in the 27s as well. Urist and Gwetsley, his next closest competitors, and I don't think Urist is going to be able to beat him on this lap. Kato looking a little cleaner, not too sure though. Any improvements? Kraft improves, Kamikaze improves, Jeff also improves to P5. And it's Kraft now extends his gap to 9/100ths from the next driver, so again, it's going to be a bit of a tough ask for anyone to improve on that, though they definitely will try.
Here goes Urist.
Kato gets really close, but it's just not enough. But he will be good enough for front row. Just 3/100ths separating the two there. Kraft and Kato, the only two to drop it past 27 seconds. We've got Urist and Gwetsley in 3 and 4. Then we've got Kamikaze, Game on Goose, Jeff and Enigma, followed by Kata and Golomi, who is just 6/10ths off the fastest lap. Suicide in P11, then followed by Alexi, Cassia, Crunk, Pumpkin, Priya, Ari Kamuna, and Jeremiah in the back. So yeah, I would say faster generally faster than I was expecting off of CL, but yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, a lot of sub 27s recently in practice qualifying, and Ultimate League is gonna get quite intense, I feel.
Yeah, it's I mean, the qualifying here, I think this has been a really tight qualifying given the circumstances too, but UL will be even tighter when we get to it, and we head to the grid now with 18 cars on it.
Important to note, softs are the tire on this track, but there's a few drivers here opting for alternative strategies.
Yeah, because softs on this track would definitely guarantee a 3-stop, and you could think maybe a 2-stop would be viable for some of the drivers on track if they're fast enough. Ooh, big mistake there from Kamikaze and Urist. They're both going wide into that middle sector, and they're getting caught up by the grid. But caught up by the rest of the pack, it's Kato who leads the pack away. Kraft is getting into a slipstream now as they are making the move. Kraft makes the move, I think, but Kato's gotten back past him, actually, into that middle hairpin. It's side by side as we head to this left, right, left. As we enter the second sector now, it looks like Kraft is ahead, but no, they're side by side now. Kato trying to fight this all the way in, and it looks like he's gotten the move down around the outside too, so it's still neck and neck between these two drivers. Kato now posting the fastest lap of the race too, as it seems to be non-stop battling between the two. Kraft for now has gotten into the lead, and Kato maybe making a bit of an error there, but he's gotten into the slip, so it won't be too much of an issue. No, he goes wide, and he's lost P2, and Kraft has actually made a mistake too, so Komi is all the way with a shout into P1 now. Oh, this is tight. The rest of the field also is really close to this leading 3. No one has gotten away from the pack so far.
Yeah, it's important to note here, you said about a free stopper earlier, but there's also plans by some drivers probably to pull off a 4-stopper with 7-lap soft stints, as an undercut really works on this track, and the soft space is just really good when the tires are unworn.
Oh, for sure.
So
And
keep
now,
an eye
though,
out for that.
the battling, there's a lot of battling back there. It's Kraft running away now. Kato and Gwetzli and Enigma in that podium fight. Kamikaze fighting himself wide, and Enigma is sitting in P3 now. Alexi, Kato, and Game Mongoose also chasing on those harder compound tires. And so is Jeff as well. So it's almost a 9-car fight for just 2 positions on the podium. Game Mongoose goes really wide. That's going to be a lot of time lost. Eurus and Pumpkin take evading action there. And we've got even more trouble.
Kader!
Oh dear, Kader goes wide there too. It's Komi and Gwetzli fighting for P2 now. Enigma not too far away. Kader, Alexi fighting Jeff here. And it looks like both drivers fighting a little bit of problems with the grass there, but Alexi sitting in P7 is a pretty good shot for him as well. As yeah, now it's going to be really time for those soft tires to start dying off, and Jeff and Alexi on those harder compounds are going to start making mincemeat of this field. We can't doubt the other drivers on the further back as well. Pumpkin, Goose, and Eurus as well. Eurus and... oh my god, Eurus gets past both of them as they make a bit of a mess out of that long left-hander to end the first sector. Following that, Priya and Kata making a pretty not impressive start to their races. Still on the soft tyre. Suicide in. Kamikaze is in for the pit as the very first one in, and so is Enigma has followed him. It's going to be Enigma and Kamikaze both out on the soft tyre. They're on for that undercut on lap 7, as you were saying.
Yeah, it's very important to note that the undercut is quite a risky strategy, because on one hand you can gain a lot of time on those fresher tires over the people who are now on really worn out softs, but if you get stuck behind some drivers...
are both in, so it's Jeff, Alexi, and Eurus now who inherit that fight for P2. And Kamikaze does make the undercut. Yeah.
On Kado and Gwetzli. Gwetzli opts for the mediums.
Gwetzli making short work of that little fight with Goose there. Behind them, Suicide and Enigma. Gonna go further back, it's Eurus fighting Jeff now. Eurus gets on the inside, and he makes the move work. He's into P2 as Kraft makes his pit stop, and he's come out in first place. So, despite a bit of trouble getting away on those opening few laps, he's been able to make the overcut work here.
Yeah, that's also a strategy that you can
take. Big trouble there. Eurus and Jeff making a lot of problems there, and Komi gets caught in the middle of that, so he's not able to get past them immediately. Eurus might be in now. No, he stays out. So does Jeff. So it's even more trouble for the for Komi, especially because he's on the much harder soft tire, much more worn soft tires. Sorry, but Eurus gets shoved out of the way there and loses a bunch of positions in the process. Gwetzli on the mediums on his second off. So big mistake from Jeff there. Ooh. So interesting to see is that Gwetzli is on those mediums now, so he might want to go for a 2-stop. We'll see on how he runs the rest of this race. But it is Kato and Kamikaze 2 and 3 as Kraft dashes away in the distance. We've got a few drivers in. It's the medium runners, Eurus and Suicide into the pits now for softs, the both of them.
Yeah, Kato, Kami go wide, Gwetzli into P2, and they're all fighting each other.
It's a 3-way fight, and you know what? I think Gwetzli is in a really prime position to do something on this. If he gets this overcut working well, Kami is on the worst tires of the 3, so he's more than happy to sit back and maybe take the slip, but it looks like, no, he shoved Gwetzli off! Oh. That is a huge lag rocket there, and it's really dampened Gwetzli's chances of making that P2 stick. And it's given Kato all the chance in the world to run away. Enigma in P5, followed by Jeff, who is still yet to pit in P6. Eurus almost got to be able to make that undercut work on Jeff. It's followed by Kato.
Quite important to note here that all this chaos, all this commotion over P2 has benefited Kraft greatly. He's up to 6 seconds over Kato now.
Jeff makes his pit stop and is on for a second stint on the hard tyres, so maybe he is in for that 2-stop strategy. He's back in P10 and he's just ahead of Goose, who is pitted a lap earlier, and he's gonna try and make things hard for Jeff in that mid-pack. Gonna go back to P2 because Enigma is already in for his second stop, and he's going in for another set of soft compound tyres. So maybe even a 5-stop would be possible here for Enigma, because it's not looking great in terms of how he can last on those tyres. Speaking of lasting on the tyres though, it's Kato and Gwetzli fighting for P2. Gwetzli really wants to be able to get this position.
Yeah, Gwetzli would profit quite a lot. He's been on the mediums this entire time and he's been keeping with P2 with the drivers on the softs, so he will probably be opting for a 3-stopper to beat the 4-stoppers and also leech off of their softs.
Oh, and speaking of, Kato makes an error and Gwetzli pulls off the move, but Kato is willing to fight this out. No, he does not.
He goes into
pits. Goes straight into the pits lane now, and he's going to follow right behind Urist, and he puts on the mediums actually. So a bit of a strategy swap there from Kato as he comes in P4 and just ahead of Kamikaze, who was on that undercut. Then we've got Enigma in P6, Suicide running in P7 right now on the softs. Pumpkin goes wide there, loses 3 positions. He's got Goose ahead of Jeff now in P8. Both drivers on the hards, so they'll be hoping to profit off of Suicide on these soft tyres. As gaps start to open up just a little bit more for everyone else. Kato in P10, followed by Pumpkin, who made that mistake and is now into P11. Got some of the guys in the back. Cassia on that pit, so is Priya and Alexi. As so does Kraft actually enter the pit lane now. He's come out well ahead of the next driver. 4 seconds ahead.
Yep, Gwetzli will probably be pitting soon as well.
Yeah, so
the mediums are starting to wear off now.
Realistically, Kraft's got an 8-second lead to the next driver on an equivalent strategy. So, yeah, and as I say that,
he's got the pace, and also he detached himself from the huge pack fighting for P2, and that really that pack gained him time and time and time.
Yeah, there you go, Gwetzli now on the softs. He is going to be in the back of that little group, and so does Urist also pit from those softs into another set. And it's Kato followed by Kamikaze, who's on the soft tyres, but he is on progressively more used ones, so if he can make a move, it's not going to be that long lasting, but he wants to be able to get rid of Kato as soon as he can. Followed back, it's Enigma trying to fight off Gwetzli, but Gwetzli on those fresh tyres. Enigma, I think he's on 6 lap socks at the moment, so it's just a smart move to just let him by, and he does so. Followed by Goose in P6 now, he's still on the hard tyres, and so is Jeff in P7. And it's Urist, who's just pit for soft tyres, who's going to try and make the move on Jeff now. He's got to go into the outside for the final hairpin, sorry. Loses a bit of time there in the chicane right after, and it's a big shunt! It's a big shunt for Jeff, and Urist gets by. Not sure what that was about, but yeah, Urist makes quick work of him. It's 2-second gap already, dude. Just that impact was so big, and now Urist has got to deal with Goose. Gonna go back to the
and
front.
take a look at Kraft's fastest lap. That is an incredible lap.
26.7. That is some lap indeed. He's definitely got the pace on everyone on the field today, and who knows, he might be a real shot of getting a podium today in UL as well, but for now, 11-second gap on Kato. Kamikaze still unable to make the move, and he's actually going to go into the pits now. He's onto the hards.
Also important to note that Kraft, who's more than certain to win this race, will now tie the record for most consecutive wins in CL at 8. Of course, he didn't race in round 4. Hence why he's still on track to get this record.
It's true. Oh, Jeff making another mistake on those hard tyres, and it looks like it's time to get them off. Goose in, Jeff in, as the drivers are starting to make their last stops now. Kamikaze trying to make that supreme undercut on the hard tyres. Can he make it work? I'm not too sure. He's a long way from Gwetzli, and he's a long way from the leaders, really. but he is using your slip at the moment, so he's always going to try and make a move. It's a bit tight, it's a bit rowdy, but both drivers get off unscathed. Urist is still in front of him, but Komi is making contact, and he wants this. He wants the Portuguese driver to go faster. This battling is helping either
really
of them.
Lost some time.
Oh dear. Yeah, the gap's almost doubled in the past 2 corners. What happened there? Ooh, Komi makes an aggressive move, and it looks like he's through. Oh no, but Urist has got the straight line speed, and he's gotten back into it. The Bobcat looking quite pacey in a straight line there. Oh, but Urist goes too inside into the left-hander. And it's let Komi away. And it's Kraft in for his final stop now. And he's out.
Kado's into the pets.
And so is Kado, yeah. And Guetzli isn't going to let himself get undercut. Where's Komi got to pull out behind this? Komi is in front. Komi is in front in P2, and Enigma into P4, and Kato is going to find some extra pace on those softs for the last 7 or so laps, because he's making mistakes on his outlap, and that's bringing Enigma into the fray as well, who I think still needs to pit, but all the same, if he can benefit anything off of this, it will be very helpful. Guetzli.
Yeah, Enigma definitely has to pit, and he does so right now. That allows Guetzli to go up to 4th. Urist will come out just ahead of Enigma.
Enigma will get past Jeff and Goose, who are still fighting for 7 and 8. Jeff is on the mediums, which is going to be really interesting come the end of the race, because they both pit on the exact same lap. And Jeff was really struggling to really make the hards work on his stint, so maybe he's thinking the mediums could do it for him on the last one. But he does have Goose on his slip. He's actually fighting, and Goose has gotten past him now. And Jeff is just gotta keep calm and take this fight another day. No, but he's going straight into it, and he's gotten back in front of Goose. This is a really interesting fight here, as we've got to go back to the leaders, because Kato has actually gotten past Komikaze, and Komikaze is trying to find that slipstream, trying to find anything to keep up with the pace of the Frenchman on the soft tyres right now.
Yeah, Guetzli behind, just trying to catch up to them.
Yeah, but he's
makes a mistake now.
There too, yeah. Urist 5 seconds back on those leading pack. He looks like he's going to try his best to hold off Enigma for the rest of the race here, because Enigma is on the fresher soft tyres here. Going to go back, and Komikaze is still butting heads with Kato here. He is on the hard tyres, but he knows he can potentially snag this P2, especially with the softs going to start to die out through the last few laps of the race. Komi fighting some trouble into the chicanes, but he's still got the slipstream, and Guetzli is coming. He's inevitable in this battle for P2 right now. He is so close to this group. And Komi is starting to lose some grip as well, so that slip isn't going to be a guaranteed thing. Kato makes a mistake, and Komi is through! Oh, wow. Big mistake there from Kato.
Question is, can Guetzli get a slipstream? Because that will just make this battle even crazier.
Kato fighting some trouble, because he's definitely on that slipstream of Komikaze. It's always trouble when Kato's behind you. They're going side by side into that middle corner, and it looks like Kato's through around the outside. And the biggest thing is, Guetzli is now into that slip. He's now into that slipstream now, so it's got 3-way horse race as we enter the last corner, but Guetzli has found the grass on the outside of that corner, and that's not good for him. He's still got a little bit of time to make up between the two in front of him. It's Kato and Komi. Neck and neck. Komi tries to make the switch back into turn 2, and he's back into it. Kraft is almost there. He's on the final lap. He's on the home stretch. He has won both sprint and feature races.
Kato goes really wide, and he's just so far away from Guetzli and Komi.
Oh, dude, now Guetzli is a shot for P2. He goes on the inside, but he becomes the outside for the corners that follow. Komikaze barely making it. Barely making the hards work. He's P2. Guetzli 3rd, Kato 4th, Urist 5th, followed by Enigma. Goose will hold on the hard tyres to finish P7. Jeff and Pumpkin 8 and 9. Then Suicide will take the 1 point for P10. Wow. What a race.
What an ending. Full spec views. Full spec views probably covered what happened to Cato there.
A lot better, yeah. Because I switched it back and he just lost about a second immediately, yeah.
Yeah, had to watch Kraft cross the line. What a dominant performance, and he has tied the record for most consecutive CL victories at 8. Incredible stuff.
And it feels like there's no sign of it slowing down as we enter the summer break.
That is true. Next up, after the mid-season break in 2 weeks, we will go to the Spanish fictional street circuit of Moralgia.
Yeah, that will be quite the interesting sight, is to have Aria Gamona just passing the line before the timeout came in. What a race. Oh, wow. But yeah, again, big points for HPF. Decent points. Doubles for Bobcats as well. Not too bad for them. But it's Kamikaze making the hards work. Making that 3-stop, the massive undercut he pulled, ended up paying off in the end. And surprises across the field. Goose and Jeff making the alternate strategy work, putting them in the points, but they were still so far down. 16 seconds the gap between Kraft and the rest at the end of the race. Speaks a lot about his dominance so far.
Catter blew his keyboard out.
What?
Yeah.
Alright.
Raced so hard he broke his spacebar.
Damn.
What does he use a spacebar for?
I don't know.
To jump, obviously.
Alright. That is all for today. We'll see you back after the break at Moralgia at the Spanish Grand Prix. We'll see you then.